Welcome to Film 360, the Full Circle Film Show. Tonight we've got a show I've been waiting almost a year to do. We've got Savannah and Steve from SNS Productions here to talk about their soon-to-be theatrically released movie, Twice the Dream. So sit tight, you're in for a great show. All right, a year in the making. This has been. You guys go to theaters next month.
Yes, April 19th.
Yeah, so about, 3 weeks away.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And last time they were on the show, last time Savannah was on the show, you were in the heat of battle. You were in the middle of production,
Oh
as I
yeah.
recall.
Yeah, we were totally in the middle of it, and it's crazy to look back, and of course with principal photography has its own challenges, and then post-production has its own challenges, and now distribution/marketing has its own.
What? You mean
know.
it's hard?
So it's just an uphill battle the entire way, but it's
Okay,
totally
but
fine.
that's all.
What?
Yeah.
Like it's hard? Yeah.
Awesome. So these guys are married, and
Yes.
how long have you been married?
Well, I just a year. No, I'm kidding. 5.5 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. And so one of the first questions that came to my mind, because my wife and I both work in the same field as well, how is it to work together out on a shoot like that? I mean, you guys were
Oh yeah.
thick as thieves, and for some couples that could honestly be a major problem. But
Oh my gosh, yeah.
how is that experience for you?
It was amazing. Like it just kind of like our personal lives. Like it just fit like a glove. I couldn't see working with anybody else. Like
And I think because we both kind of bring our own kind of skill sets and qualities to to production and as well as in our relationship. And so with that, like, so for instance, Savannah is definitely more with the directing side, producing and writing and so forth, and I'm taking care of more of the technical aspects of it. So with that kind of a combination, it actually really helped out quite a bit. And I mean, I don't see. We never really got into any kind of arguments or anything like that. It just, it worked out pretty well. We just were really just synced up the entire time. So
yeah, it was
Awesome.
It was crazy. I think we really balance each other out.
Yeah, we do.
Like Steve said, it's crazy, but yeah, it's a fun balance. I mean, sometimes, and even now, like we're always talking about the project and work and future projects, and it's like, okay, wait, so when we're even out to dinner, we're work talking, but it's like it doesn't really feel like that. It's just but 1 minute we'll be talking about this movie, blah blah blah, the project, and then the next minute, oh, by the way, Saturday night, so we're on dinner with my folks. Like
yeah.
it's just a very natural transition.
Plus, I mean, every date is a write-off, right?
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. Hey, the house.
Tax plan.
Right. On.
Oh yeah. No, this is
The
one
car.
of the big benefits nobody talks about.
It's very true.
Awesome. So I wanted to ask about. I don't know a ton about the story.
Oh
yet,
yeah.
Because I get the feeling that you don't want to reveal too much from the trailers.
Yes, this is true.
So, which is exciting.
Yeah.
And in fact, real quick, we actually have an exclusive clip that we wanted to show.
Heck
This
yeah.
is a special trailer that they put together just for the show tonight. So, let's roll that.
Guess I just haven't found my dream yet. Maybe it'll find you.
Let's not awaken Mom quite yet.
She's not here.
Where is she?
So, what, are you gonna start playing music now too? She's not the only one who had a dream,
Family is everything. Definitely worth fighting for.
Rated PG, coming April 19th.
Okay. So I want to know more about what the movie is about. So we won't ask too many
You watched that?
questions.
What is this about?
Yeah, which is not always. I mean, the trailer for Up, for instance, gave you nothing.
That's right.
And it was a nice surprise.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah. Even Endgame coming up is like that. Where
Yeah.
I don't
Oh my
really
gosh.
know.
Yeah, you know
They're
nothing.
Way under wraps. So kind of fun.
Yeah, like, it's like you just watched the last trailer that they released, and it's like, okay, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
at all,
they
so
they
it's
release
perfectly
footage
fine.
from other movies, and you're like, okay, I feel like deja vu. I've seen this before, but
But I mean, you're right that like with our film, we're definitely trying to keep from revealing too much about what happens in the story. Really, because we feel that when the audience comes in, without that knowledge going into the movie, we feel like it'll be that much more of a special and unique experience for them when they see the film for the first time.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Couldn't agree more, because they'll be experiencing that, journey, like just for the first time, kind of like life, and that's what we wanted to do. I mean, yeah, the story, essentially, Twice the Dream is about two sisters who are following their passions to becoming musicians, singer-songwriters, and life kind of throws them curveballs, and it's about them sticking together and really moving forward, never giving up. That's the message we're driving home. So, it's a sweet, kind-hearted family film, rated PG. We
Nice.
just got that rating like a month ago.
Nice.
With original music in it. It's there's no really stunts or special effects. It's very different from like the superhero movies. It's just a very, character-driven, unique original story that really has a lot of substance to it as well.
Wait, what about that explosion that we had at the very end of the movie?
Yeah, we
I'm
cut
sorry.
that out to get our PG.
Oh man.
We cut it out.
Oh, okay, so I did want to ask about the inspiration for
yeah.
the story. Where did it come from? Because
my
I don't think
gosh.
we talked about that before.
I know. I can't believe we didn't. Well, it's kind of crazy because I started writing this story in math class in junior high. It was funny. I went to this same junior high, Timberline Middle School, and I talked to the students, and they asked, like, how did you, go from this, student at Timberline writing this story to 14 years later making the movie and releasing it in theaters? And I'm like, you know what? That's a really good question. I don't know. It just feels like, but my inspiration really was I wanted to write a movie that I really felt like I wanted to see at that age, like something that, is genuine, and it's a coming of age story, but also makes you laugh, makes you cry, gives you all these emotions, and I just felt like, that teenage tween, and any female audience, really, that market is very underserved. So that was my mission, to kind of fill that void. And then once I came up with the characters, it was just like unstoppable.
Yeah. So was there a particular event that kind of triggered an idea, or was it more built from scratch? Because I mean, I think a lot of us have built stories both ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But this feels so personal that I wonder if there was some kind of a...
It's funny because it's about two sisters who, share this like unbreakable bond, and ironically, I don't have a sister, so I have a brother. Sometimes he's like a sister. No, I'm kidding. But so I use that experience, like me and my brother have been always very close, and we're the only siblings, but I always wondered what it would be like to have a sister as well, and my brother's like 5 years younger than me, so I always was writing from the older sister point of view, and in the movie that's the character I play, the older sister. So yeah, part of it was based on experiences, and then as the script progressed over the years, a lot of it kind of took more shape of my own personal experiences, trying to make it in the industry. So in a way, like, art imitates life, or life imitates art, totally.
Awesome. Okay, well, we are going to take a quick break for some sponsors, but when we get back, we're going to talk about some difficulties you guys had in production
Yeah.
and some other awesome stuff, so sit tight for a minute.
Hello, I'm Dr. John Sanders. I'm a family physician, and the reason that I went into medicine was because I love helping and caring for people. I created Voyage Direct Primary Care because the cost and complexities of insurance companies have driven people away from accessing the care that they need. I am a board-certified family physician, and physicians across the nation provide upwards of 90% of health care to Americans. As such, I'm uniquely positioned to provide that care to my clients. Cutting out the middlemen, cutting out the cost and complexities of insurance, and putting care back into the healthcare model. So how does it work? For one low monthly fee, Voyage Direct Primary Care provides you with fantastic, holistic family medical care. Voyage Direct Primary Care offers unprecedented access to your family doc via same-day office visits, but also we provide access via text, phone call, video chat. There are no copays or deductibles for any of these services. It's just one low monthly fee. In order to optimize your wellness, I like to spend adequate time with you. I like to listen to your problems and get to know you and build that relationship. It's not uncommon for me to spend 30 to 60 minutes with my clients. This helps me be the best doctor for you that I can be. Voyage Direct Primary Care puts old school principles back into healthcare, where your physician really gets to know you, has a relationship with you, and isn't afraid to make house calls on occasion. Voyage Direct Primary Care offers a unique healthcare experience that can save you money whether you have insurance or not. To learn more or sign up, visit voyagedpc.com. Voyage Direct Primary Care, where caring is our superpower.
Welcome back, and I think this next part is maybe one of the most important parts of the discussion for a lot of beginners, because I think this is, a lot of people experience these sorts of setbacks maybe, and we don't hear about it. So I don't understand a lot, and you don't, obviously, there's probably a lot you can't say, but early on, you were working on this production with somebody, and you had some kind of a pretty bad setback.
Total fallout. Boom.
Ooh.
Yeah, so basically, back in 2014, we tried to, previously to that, Savannah and I have been trying to, get this film made, for with a higher budget and so forth. And at a certain point, you realize that when you're trying to create a film with such a higher budget, then there comes a demand of other people taking control of it, and that's of course something that was never going to be part of the negotiating table. So at that point, the idea was to make it for a significantly smaller budget, and so in 2014 we were able to get a decent amount of money. Obviously not millions, but at least a good amount to do something with. And so we put out a call for crew members to help out, and this one particular person had come on board, and he essentially was what he was doing. He was playing this smooth game of oh, you know what? We'll need. He's supposed to be like a line producer, helping out with the budget and so forth. And so he was looking at it, and he was like, we really could use some more money. You know what? I know some people that can really help out, and so basically what he was doing is he was talking this game of I can bring some more people in and bring more money in and all that kind of stuff, but while he was doing this, he was making himself the center of communication with everyone. So we couldn't communicate directly to these people.
Yeah.
We had to communicate to him, and he would communicate to them. Meanwhile, what he was actually doing was he was changing the message from what we were saying to those people, and vice versa. And then from there, basically, he was essentially saying that he was saying that, oh, these two people were talking, some nonsense or some bad things about us, and vice versa. And basically, he used it to essentially leverage a lot of money from people. He was basically. He was saying, oh yeah, this money's going to the production, and he just pocketed the money and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So we found out about what he was doing, pretty deep into the
Another thing, he kept pushing back the schedule. We had scheduled to film in August. He would say, okay, we have to postpone and schedule, so that we had a casting director in New York as in like, okay, what is going on? Like, you were supposed to film in a month. It's not even cast yet. What's going on? And it was like we were stressed out of our minds, but it's something we thought, I guess this is just normal. And that's the thing, it's not, you know? So.
And he was probably relying on the fact that you guys wouldn't know that.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And it's really sad.
Yeah, he was playing off of our naivete of how things work with production and with how these things work. And essentially, eventually we found out, we were able to kind of start putting the pieces together and realize, okay, this is what's really going on. And so, unfortunately, it ended up with a lot of money being lost, and so the project essentially it was not able to get started at that point. So I mean, it was definitely a very depressing time for both of us.
I know, it was very, like, I didn't even want to get out of bed for like a week. Like, and I felt like such a huge failure at that point because we had lost thousands of dollars too. Like, he was embezzling thousands of dollars as well, and it's like from us too, and it's like it just felt like this dream that I had for so long just completely just shattered. And so
So it feels a little bit to me like there was a real life parallel, maybe.
Oh yeah. It was just like, it was crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then the script, believe it or not, I started tweaking some things because of that experience. There's some storylines that made it in the final film that I kind of used from our experience. I mean, not like exactly, but it was very inspired. So it was like, I feel like it's very, you can tell in the final film, there's so much, you know, of ourselves and our journey as filmmakers in the movie.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate because, in fact, actually just today, a gentleman that I worked with, who's a DP in LA, he was actually posting on Facebook like about a scam. Like, not, I mean, it was slightly different than what we had experienced, but unfortunately, because of the nature of the film industry, because you have these people that are chasing their dreams, they're trying to, you know, make it big and everything like that, and you unfortunately have people that are very willing to take advantage of those dreams and turn it into a nightmare. So
that makes sense. Okay, so this is maybe the most important part of this part of things.
Yes.
What are the warning signs that you would watch for if you were in this situation again? What could you or should you have seen about his behavior? About like what could I look at? How could I avoid this?
That's an excellent question, Brian. I think the biggest lesson I've learned, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Like, he would promise us like, oh, I'm raising your budget from like $60,000 to $250,000 in just like a week, and you know, and instead of, you know, we're gonna buy all these cranes, and like, it's just I felt like, oh yeah, this makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
He would be able to, you know, he's like, oh, we're taking your seed money, and and then he said, oh, and I'm gonna, you know, I have all these connections in LA, and you know, we're gonna premiere it there, and blah blah blah, or like it was all these, but at the time because you're so vulnerable with this dream, you're like, yes, this is exactly what I need. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's like if it sounds too good to be true, you have to really dig deep and do your research. And also, he was going by an alias name, so you gotta be careful. Like, a lot of people.
Yeah, do research on the individual. Also, if somebody is not letting you talk to somebody, then there's a problem, because like for instance, like when you have a team that's working on it, there should not be any, like, as far as, you know, the production aspect is concerned, there should not be a restriction of communication. And if you're in charge of the project, you are in charge of the project, and you're to end. If anyone's holding back information or anything like that, then that's not good.
Absolutely, absolutely. Good. Yeah, and although we won't name the individual, we just call him Voldemort.
Yeah, and of course
that's who he is.
Yeah, and of course the key phrase that is kind of a giveaway. If they keep on saying
trust me.
Trust me.
Oh.
Trust me.
It's
gonna
so-
work. Trust me.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, you're folded. So
Yeah.
Good.
And at the end of the
Good
day,
info.
you just have to go with your gut. And I feel like, in a way, it's like things started feeling weird, but we just didn't want to believe it, you know?
Yeah.
So you just have to go with your gut instincts. And, you know, this time around, we only worked with people we really knew and
trusted,
you know,
yeah.
really trusted. And we were the only ones in charge of the bank account. That's another, like, don't trust anyone with your production account.
yeah.
That's a lesson we learned as well, you know, and it should be a given, right? Like someone in real estate wouldn't, but for some reason in the film industry, you just think it's like, oh, maybe this is the way it's supposed to be.
I mean, I always tell people in the arts, like, for a few days I had to have a skeleton in the back of seat of my car. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's a different world.
Oh,
and-
same. We've
Yeah.
had fake guns in our car, you know, and they're visible, and
Yeah.
I thought, people won't, I mean, people know that we're filmmakers, right? Like, they're not.
Yeah, and then,
Yeah.
and then one last thing that also is it's a good defense against scammers and anything anything like that. A paper trail, because
Yes, I was gonna ask
Yes.
about that.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Because I mean, for instance, you know, we were able to look back at our emails, kind of track the history of what was going on, and then of course if somebody. Like, in fact, one of the things that kind of tipped off like something's up was we were trying to get like, okay, we need to get a contract, you know, secured, secured, and there was no contract that he was signing. So
He was the worst at paperwork.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, why are you holding back on this? What is going on with this? And so, because you know, obviously, if an actor that comes on and then you know, obviously they sign the release and stuff like that, no big deal. But if you don't want to do that, then then it's like, what's really going on?
Yeah,
So-
what are you hiding?
Okay. Excellent advice. And now, last thing I think we're going to have time for
Yes.
is I want to talk about you guys are actually made possible through an angel investor as opposed to a group of investors or studio funding or something. So obviously we're not going to name any names, anything like that, but how did you find your investor? If you're comfortable giving us a ballpark on budget, if not, that's fine. Yeah, let's just talk about that relationship.
Yeah. Well, that's always a crazy process. Like, well, I think I have to, in order to answer this, I have to go back. You know, I had this script ever since I was 14, and then I went to East Hollywood High School. I started adapting the screenplay there. After I graduated, I moved to LA because I thought, this is where I'm going to get my movie made. The only problem was literally everybody
It's LA.
was I'd go to a Starbucks and there'd be 10 screenwriters there. You know what I mean?
I like how it's air quotes.
I know, it's
screenwriters.
really sad.
It's true.
You know, like, and you know,
I've been out there.
You've been out, yeah.
Yeah.
So you know, and so, but originally all the people I talked to, they said, well, you know, film is expensive. You're gonna have to raise $1 million at least. So I said, okay, great. You know, like I was like, what, 18, 19? I said, oh, I could raise $1 million, no problem. Sell my soul. And, you know, it took a while and just working with different people and going to different production companies and also some suits. And some of them, I had another script option before. That's another topic for another day. But some companies were interested in optioning the script or buying the script, but the one caveat was I couldn't be involved in it, so that was definitely a no for me because even though you know it was tempting because I thought, well, maybe we could sell it and then just make something else, but you know this story is just so personal, I just couldn't give it up. So then you know, and then we raised that bit of money in 2014, failed epically, and then you know it was just the process of picking ourselves back up and thinking maybe we should, you know, move to Utah and try, you know, get our roots back there and try to make the movie for as low of a budget that we can without compromising the quality. So I think that's one of the best advice we can give to filmmakers is just think about realistically, you know, like your first film, unless you have like this sugar daddy uncle, well, not sorry that like a super rich uncle or dad, they're not gonna give you $1 million or $2 million.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you have to prove yourself, and it makes sense, like with any other business.
Yeah.
So we tried to, we just went to people and.
Yeah, and we were asking several different people, and the one that actually turned up was the one that we least thought was going to say.
Oh,
say
literally,
yes.
yeah, it was
interesting.
Yeah,
yeah.
and so so they were somebody that had known Savannah for a while, and they had seen the kind of drive that Savannah's had over the years, and basically like the willingness of how quickly they were willing to fund it was like, what, really? Like
it
Wow.
was so it totally took us back because I was like, I mean, should I ask this person? So, and that's the people who usually just approach everybody because you never know.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when you're talking about investors, like Savannah touched on this a little bit. When you're talking to an actual investor, they're in it to have a return on investment. They're in to make money. So if you're when you're looking at it from the perspective of the investor, then you can kind of realize, okay, so maybe somebody is not going to bankroll my thing for $1 million because because their first question will be like, well, have you ever managed a project for $1 million?
Have you ever made a movie
so
before?
Have you ever made?
Yeah.
So like for instance, like if you have somebody that like even after Twice the Dream, like if I mean like a ballpark, we made the film for, I mean, under it was definitely ultra low budget range, and so we would imagine that if an investor wanted to invest in our next project, they'll probably look at that and see, okay, you made for this much. How much of a return investment did you make? Okay, great. So you were able to do that. So let's go ahead and try up it up to see how much more we can get.
Yeah.
So at that point, that we have a track record. But if you're, that's why the first film was always the hardest, because you don't have track record.
Yeah, exactly.
So so that's why you have to go. So the best way would be to go to those individuals who, either family or friends or somebody that's willing to take a chance on you, because really ultimately the investor is.
They're taking a leap of faith.
They're taking a leap of faith, and they're and so they're also looking at very well accepting the possibility that they're going to lose their money, because but of course you have to show that you're willing, that they have to have faith in taking the leap of faith with you. And then along with that, as long as you're also investing in yourself. So for instance, like with us, like we had also purchased a Red camera and everything like that. So we had already been investing in ourselves as well. So we were already kind of getting some traction already. So the investor saw that and was like, okay, you guys are really serious about this. Let's go.
I think it was your cinematography skills that really sold them, though. Like, he's the reason the movie looks pretty.
Oh, it's also your stories. Though.
Oh, well, that. It was only 14 years in the making. Your cinematography.
Awesome.
But yeah, no, it was amazing, and you just have to pull from every resource that you have. We did have to, a lot of friends and family helped us out. Like my mom was the art designer. But I mean, yeah, it's like we were definitely low budget, but we at least had some budget to work with. I guess that's the
nice.
bottom line. Yeah. Hopefully
Awesome.
next project will be even more. We'll bump it up.
A little more. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think pretty much it's time to wrap up. I did want to touch on one more thing, which is what's next.
Great question.
What's next?
What is next? I think we're gonna retire and work at Starbucks. No, I'm kidding.
Great. No, yeah, you can be with the
I'm done with
screenwriters.
this. No, I'm kidding. I literally, during all this craziness, I finished a completely new script, which is so crazy. And then we're working on another script together.
Yeah.
So we got a female-driven thriller, and then another script, more ambitious.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more ambitious. So that one will be later. So
yeah, we'll probably need to raise a little bit.
Yeah, but as far as our next film, definitely want to be a little more discreet about what the synopsis is. But it's definitely something that's going to be pretty awesome.
Let me put it this way: it's Mean Girls meets like the Hunger Games.
Okay.
Like a Halloween
I'm
twist.
sold. Awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you, Brian.
You guys are
yes.
awesome to have on the set. And just for you guys, real quick, want to thank our sponsor, Voyage Direct Primary Care. If you're in the arts, if you're an independent contractor of any kind, they have an awesome option for healthcare that's really tailored to kind of suit the needs of that community. So check out their video, check out their webpage, voyagedpc.com, and yeah, we'll hopefully be talking to you guys at the premiere of the movie.
Absolutely,
Yes,
yeah.
That's,
April. Well, the premiere is April 11th, but it comes out to Megaplex Theaters April 19th.
Awesome.
So-
Everybody make sure to go out and support. So thanks so much,
Excited.
and we'll see you next time on Film 360.
Thank you, Brian. Woo!